welcome to the soul. And I have a little saying anyway that you'll always come back to your soul. So, in fact, we never really leave it. And that's the good news. And if you and I could concentrate more on the good news, we're going to be just fine. And there's no reason anymore, maybe in the past, but not anymore, to focus on the unreal. I mean, it's that simple. If you were to choose choice right now, real or unreal, without even thinking about it, that's choice. You want the real or the unreal? Let me hear what each of you would choose.
Real.
See? You see? See how smart your soul is? Do you? Do you see how beautiful who you really are? It knows exactly. So before I have an opening prayer, this is Rysa. He was with us yesterday. I'm going to read a little selection from this most beautiful book. Now, I hope you brought some copies. I hope we have some. You're out. That's all right. We can take an order. We can take an order today. But anyway, this is his book. It's called Beloved I Am, the Christ Within. And it's really about that Christ as the divine feminine within us. Because the Christ is also the masculine, you know, because it holds this unbelievable, almost like an impersonal divine energy, like source, like God in creation. Just supreme bliss, supreme joy. And yet the other aspect is the divine mother, who is this creation, right? And that is the divine feminine within each of us. In fact, we are both masculine and feminine. So, but you and I aren't going to go straight to that source without being loved a little bit and learning that we are loved too. So if I were you, and I am, I'd turn to the cosmic mother. Right? So anyway, I've already read this little thought that I pulled up in his book this morning twice. I did it at meditation this morning, and then I did it before our yoga class because it is just so apropos. So this is in a section called Conception on his book, because there's categories: truth, purity, conception, wisdom, love. But anyway, it says, be with others who are awake this morning. Right? And it's like, I'll take my hat off to all of you for showing up, because in a situation like this, I mean, we're the Soul Center Foundation for Spiritual Awakening, right? That's our whole energy. It's our whole purpose. Every moment, every breath that we take is about awakening here. So this place, the energy alone, you stepping into it, is about being awake. But when you come with that perfect self of yours, and then we combine all our perfect selves, we're a bigger whole, right? So what happens is that awakening energy is all over us. So we really have it made. It's a double bonus. Be awake. Be with others who are awake this morning. The change brings you the awareness of a grander plan. Leave behind the dreams of pain haunting your dark night of sleep. You and I, again, would do just fine, just like your soul chose real. If you knew the divine plan, if you could feel even a particle of the divine plan, you would rejoice for forever and ever. Because your happiness is the divine plan. Your nature is already the divine plan. So just being awake this morning is going to put us to that. And then it goes on to say, open your inner eyes to the sun. See the light of the world. It is not enough for you just to believe anymore. Now, I don't know where we're going to go in our talk after we have our meditation, but, and you're probably where you are in your part of the world is the same as where I'm at in my part of the world, but I often bring that up, Rysa, that it's not enough just to believe anymore.
Right. Absolutely.
Because look at all the books you have on your bookshelf at home that hold amazing truth, right? And what has it done for you? Huh? If you're still confused, if you're still wondering, if you're still looking, what has it done for you? So now in the Aquarian energy, there is a give back. That as you sit here this morning, don't just listen to us. I hope you didn't come here to be inspired by us. I know that's part of it, but I hope there's a part in you that's feeding you. That's showing you that, man, I got it inside, right? And this is the Christ within that rises, manifested in this book. That whole concept that is coming from within me. Our words, inspirational words, words of truth can only be activated when that conscious mind of yours says, yes, I am choosing to look within. I am choosing to embrace who I am. Then it activates. The grace you have is the infinite's allowance for you to be a co-creator. So you might say, I don't know if I have any grace. Excuse me? Your life is 100% grace. You being alive is grace. Existence is grace.
Mm-hmm.
So you have it, and you have tons of it. And it is the infinite's allowance for you to be a co-creator. Now, I think Source did a pretty good job in creating these universes, don't you?
Yes.
And you have exactly the same co-creative ability with that creator. Nothing less. You and Source are one. And finally, it says this, and this was just one part of this one section. This is the awe-inspiring reality of which you are one with. This idea that you and Creator are one. What Creator is, you are. What Creator does, you do. Right? You are one with. That is the grace. That is what you said, each of you, when you said, I choose the real.
That was amazing, Tom. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. And I was here yesterday for a session, and the energy is so powerful in your presence, and I appreciate that because I haven't felt it in a long time. We're living in Utah. This is Shenandoah, and we've over the past few years we've been manifesting this book, and I'd like you all to say the title, if you can, after me. Beloved I am.
Beloved I am.
Christ within.
Christ within.
So it's kind of like a first name, second name. And the way it was created was just through work like many of you do as counselors and teachers and healers. I'm pretty sure most everyone in this group are all involved in some sort of healing methodology. Yoga is one of the best there ever was, and your evolution of yoga has a real joy to it. You don't have to stand on your head for 6 weeks or anything.
Right.
Or I'm not sure about that.
Well, if
I haven't been to the advanced class.
if they don't behave, that's what we have them do.
Okay, stand on your head in the corner.
Right.
Well, anyway, I think humanity is supposed to stand on their head in the corner.
Right, for a while.
Because, but we're in a big change and a big transformation of energies that have been coming for literally centuries. And it's basically a universal entrainment. As I was hearing the drumming and the music, it was just so harmonically, and your voices were all harmonized perfectly. And with yoga and healing, you are getting your instrument tuned. You know, that's what you're doing. You're getting your body grounded with, you know, the earth, and then spirit, and so you tune your frequency. And we're all getting tuned because could you go hit the gong?
Yeah, right?
That's the way it's going to
Where's
feel.
Marcia? Maybe, because she's got it. Right? I know.
Yeah, the gong is the way the galactic center is just going to press, or not press, but just push a wave forth. And when that wave comes forth, it'll be like a note on a keyboard, which will, if you're tuned, you're going to be feeling it in a wonderful way. If you're not tuned, you might not feel it in such a wonderful way.
Ringing the gong.
So feel it. Now let yourself breathe in deeply and then feel the energy go up into your crown chakra and extend out. Do this 7 times. Breathe in and up. Basically expanding each chakra as you go up. When you reach the 7th, just hold yourself up. And so with that, by bringing your chakra energy up with your breath, with the prana, you tune it to a higher frequency. Breathing in and out is only part of it. Breathing in and up is to, and bring the enlightenment. There's many pages in this book, and the first one, though, is called The Way. And it is important for us to begin any journey by knowing where we're going. And to know where you're going, you have to know, where you are first. And see, the first thing the book says, and this, the cover was created by Lily Moses, is her name, which is a beautiful name. It's her real name, and she's sat with these angels and archangels, Archangel Michael, and she says she's painting Metatron right now, and he's really nice to be with, and there's Sananda, and from this we learn where we are by what our feelings are. And we also are learning to open up our mind to our inner teacher and let this teacher bring you to a greater understanding. This inner teacher is your Christ within. So it's nothing outside of yourself. That's one of the things that we have to bring ourselves back into, that we are all that one holographic, energetic relationship, so that your words and my words can be pretty much the same. And so in doing the counseling and the work that I did with people, I saw how necessary it was to get people to walk past their boundaries, their boxes. Because when we get ourselves in all these little boxes, and then we become cognitively disassociated, which means, we are unable to make sense of the 2 different boxes, and when we do that, then it creates an addictive pattern that puts us into either thought processes that leave us, without the whole, being who we are. And the whole of who we are is a fully telepathic, clairvoyant being that has a multi-dimensional construct, that you are all existing on many different timelines right now. And some of you can actually see those timelines, but most are locked into their focus of this time period. And that this time period has many other relationships. Just if you look in your old temporal history, your temporal history. Like with Tom here, I share fun times, even though we didn't know each other. We
were gauchos.
We were gauchos in Santa Barbara.
UCSB.
Yeah,
Go gaucho.
Yeah.
I was just graduating when he was coming in as a freshman. Tell me, which dorm did you stay in?
Oh, Isla Vista.
You didn't stay in a dorm.
No.
You went straight to Isla Vista, yeah. All right.
Well, I
was a smart man.
I came in as a junior, though.
Oh, that's right.
But,
Okay.
but the point of that is he stayed here in this beautiful area, and I went north up to Oregon, different places, and wound up in Utah. And in so doing, we all move along our different life paths, and so what I was trying to move us towards was the fact that you don't have to really go back to Atlantis to figure out your past life. Your past life was yesterday. and we want to tell jokes about light workers sometimes, light workers are more interested in their past lives than their present one. But to go on further, what we're looking at is our transition into higher consciousness beings. And so each of you can move into a different type of telepathy if you just accept it. Most of you are already operating on that level constantly. But the beloved I am was to move with compassion, because you can only really get into telepathy if you have compassion for people, if they're your friends. So actually a friend of mine up in Carlsbad, Toby Kohans, told me, this MySpace thing was really cool, and I could put my crazy thoughts up on it. And so I did, and I got like 50,000 friends in a little while or whatever. And we started creating another work called the Gold Ring. And the Gold Ring now, that's why I'm wearing a gold shirt. The Gold Ring has reached over 9 or 10 million views and on YouTube and different things. And it's a transformational story of awakening in the society. So it begins, today is the start of a new game. It is designed to change the world. It all begins with you and your desire. Now, I know, desire is a bad word in some circles, but desire is part of the power matrix of the first ray energies. And without desire, the universe would not exist. And the energy of this is to bring love into form, is what desire is. It's just on a octave range. What do you look at? The darkest dark energy is still coming from love. And because it's moving in that direction. It's only when you're out of tune with your own direction that there is negativity. And so it's just like if the instrument was untuned, that's all it is. And so once you get into tune or homeostasis from a physical standpoint, then you feel good. Tom was mentioning, would you choose the unreal or the real? And so parts of the my process have been through the typical business world of facing everyday challenges of people wanting to tune their instrument a little more than yours. I guess that's a good way to put it. But the whole idea here is that in that process, a friend of mine asked me a question, or he said he did a survey. He asked everybody he knew if they would prefer poverty or wealth, and it was amazing. Almost everybody chose wealth, and pretty much everybody chooses health, and pretty much everybody chooses the real. Now, if a person is choosing any differently than that, it's because they have lost their sense of who they are, and that's why this book is here, to get back into the feeling of who you are. And the table of contents can be read, which are the names on here, like awaken, accept, channel, the goddess, beautiful pictures and things. But the book is something that can be read in a way of just by reading the titles. That the way is freedom, And in freedom you find wisdom and love, and you sing purity, and it changes the world. And as a child you bridge forever with energy and truth and transformation in the conception of the essence of life that is spiritual. Then you realize to awaken to the light, and you voice and hear the gift, which is a revelation of home, which is the reflection of your own asking, as you open and accept the feeling and the experience of transition and communion and faith and connection. In this channel, you remember to learn and center the lesson and compassion with the heart goddess, and you approach within and to find the beloved and share this healing and give and arise in unity and seek harmony to create and breathe and rise in the holy mystery of the immaculate closeness. You feel the opening, and you begin to know human emotion is perfect, and I am treasure. You can also read it backwards. The treasure I am is perfect emotion. It's human. It's beginning to open. I feel the closeness of the immaculate mystery. The holy rising breath creates harmony in seeking unity to arise and give healing, to share the beloved within, to approach the goddess heart with compassion in the lesson, to center and learn and remember the channel, which is the connection to faith and communion and transition to the experience of feeling, to accept and open the asking in reflection of our revelation of the gift, which is what we hear and what we voice in the light, to awaken and realize the spiritual life essence, conception, transformation, truth, energy, forever, bridge to the children, the world, and it changes to purity, and we sing and love and wisdom and freedom, and this is the way.
Sign up today.
But those are just the titles headings because each page is activated by mandalas that Ashton and Doa created, and Lily Moses created the imagery behind, and I created the words, and Adele here is we're like the composers, and she's our singer. And so we're just so happy to be able to offer it now after about 20 years since part of its conception, but it's always growing, it's always evolving. So is that about the right timing?
Feels good.
Okay.
Feels perfect. The morning goes by fast when there's so much light. Time stops. So the linear time, so to speak, is like this, and then we're in this timeless place, which seems like forever, right? So anyway, that was really a testimony in those because if you just look and open up these chapters, there's how many chapters?
69.
There's 69. You think, oh wow, there's 69 really cool titles, right? But it's just like, if we took a little close-up and came in, a little micro of a Rembrandt painting, and you just got a section, but you studied the section, it would be cool, right? Because it's a master's touch there. You would have fun with that, but you wouldn't be able to perceive the whole. So, but if you pull back and you just said, oh my gosh, there's all these perfect little parts, these parts of the painting, but when you see the whole thing, wow. See, that's the grander plan. And so what Rysa, I think, just did to us really, what I got out of it was that yeah, you could go into way, you could go into conception. I read you something from conception. You could go into purity. And really, if you felt your way in, if you received what was there, if you just didn't move on and say, well, yeah, that's cool, now what? Right? You would be able to then perceive through intuition the whole painting. Because it's all connected. It is so beautifully all connected. But the big picture is something that's really important for us in this day and age, right? In this year, 2012, year of our Lord. Because when we get so we're just in this little piece of the picture, that's when a lot of us get freaked out. And that's when you want explanations. That's when you go see the counselors. You know, that's when you just start talking to your friends or complaining to your friends or showing up at Starbucks and drinking a Doppio, right? Because you gotta figure it out, but you can't figure it out with the intellect. You can only figure it out with intuition. So it's time to just pause, I think. It is really time to pause on the one word until your intuition awakens. Go, wow, I just felt what purity meant to me. You know, the way, the first chapter or the first page of the book. Wow, what is my way? Right? I could go hear other people talk about the way, but have I ever asked myself, what way am I on? Which direction, you know, am I starting from, so I know where I'm going to? And I guess if you read then the page on acceptance, you would say, you know, better accept where I am today, radically, or I'm just bringing my baggage along with me on the way.
Absolutely. Now, we actually had 68 pages of the original book, and we created one more, and it's this one here. You know, and it's a beautiful mandala, and it's called I Am, and this is actually, it says, I am the essence in your joyous heart. In the sharing of your glorious soul, all life awakens. Spring's rush of joy, summer of happiness, the harvest of wisdom. Surrender to my heart so you may reach bliss. But Yogananda is also very important to me in many ways as a spiritual teacher, just from a standpoint of just connecting with his energy. And so I'm honored to be here today with all of you.
Well, you know, and he's the first one that I know of that really brought the divine feminine to the West. I mean, his prayer, that his universal prayer is, you know, Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, Beloved God, and then he lists the masters, the lords. But that friend, that Divine Mother, the Divine Mother, and he said that his whole life had meaning because of his relationship with the Divine Mother, or the Divine Feminine. And you know, that was his whole heart was given to that aspect of divine love. That's why he was called a prim avatar, or an avatar of divine love. And that, you know, if I could thank my teacher, Yogananda, for anything in this world, was passing on that to me. Passing on the knowledge that I could turn to the divine feminine, I could turn to love. I could turn to something that isn't looking at law, saying, look, here's your karma, and you got to face it and go through it. But as Yogananda said, if you love Divine Mother with all your heart, she wipes out your karma, right? So I hear stuff like that in the teachings, and I say, I'm in.
Yeah.
Well,
that was the way it was in my family. You wipe out my karma and give me money.
Right? So I don't know about your approach to all this, which really isn't so much as an approach as it is a surrender to what already is, with a love that is already enwrapping you, even as you sit here now, right? We took those 7 breaths, moving that breath in and up, so that you and I could just get to that place where we're just humming a little more in tune with that embrace, with that divine love. Unspeakable, right? I mean, it's going to be, what is enlightenment but a shock? It's just a total shock that all this that I thought was me has never been me. Just the beloved. That's an amazing thing to walk around with today. Because most of your days is planned around you, the little ego, right? And if you look at most people's lives, they may go from self-centeredness to kind of raising a family. Right? But it's difficult for moms and dads who haven't done the work to stay out of ego, so they're kind of modeling the Heavenly Father and Divine Mother energies for those kids. They think they can talk in front of those kids or watch TV in front of the kids, or even when the soul was in the embryo, they could still do their thing because of their ego doesn't want them to stop playing with the toys of this world, which are making them miserable. So even in fatherhood and motherhood, there's quite a challenge and quite an invitation from God, I think, to invite the parents to, realign, come back within. Because this whole deal is then the other way, our first responsibility. So that would be a lifetime, and we've had them, and we still may. My little needs, my self-centeredness, and maybe us four and no more. And then how are we going to get by, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now let's look at it from the place that you already are, the grace that you already are the awakened one, you already are the Christ within. Then our first priority is the Christ consciousness, which is then the oneness with the beloved. And that son or daughter, Christ, son, daughter, to the one. Okay? First responsibility. The next responsibility I call is to the team. Now what does that mean? The team is the holy ones who you and I have around us, who are assigned by the infinite to make sure that you and I get out of this delusion. That you and I can have a little relief from the grief, that you and I can find our way home. The team also represents your tribe, your community. And one thing that we're seeing here at the Soul Center, and having Rysa here today, I just met him yesterday, but it seems like an old friend, is that there's now teams building, human teams as well, of consciousness, of people who are getting what the divine is feeding them, hooking up to what the divine is feeding others, and when you come together, there's two sections of that master painting, or more. Mm-hmm. And it just feels so good to get that grander vision of the plan, right? So, and team also represents the inner team and the community. So I'm talking about responsibilities now in the higher age, which is now, right? Because it's all happening now. All the 4 yugas are happening right now, the lowest to the highest, right now. And you guys we're all spread out pretty good as multidimensional beings, as Rysa mentioned. We're all spread out pretty good. Now our energies can be pretty scattered, right? We can be in low moments. We can also have an inspiration. We can be wanting to share. We can be very closed up and fearful, right? All at the same time. So you realize, wow, it's not easy to meditate because you guys, we haven't retracted. We haven't brought everything into our center. We haven't done that year after year after year. So when you do sit down to meditate, boom, you're one. You're in the embrace of the beloved. And that's worth the years, or whatever else, the lifetimes it takes. So now the priority is first that beloved, oneness with the Christ within, top priority, then the team, that's the inner team and your community. Now you're thinking maybe as a householder, wait a minute, you're telling me that I have two other responsibilities besides my family? Yes, I am. Your third responsibility is to your physical family. And the fourth one is to your ego. If you want a responsibility. It's the lowest on the totem pole. In fact, your ego consciousness is the lowest level of consciousness in infinity. And shame and guilt and those emotions, they're kind of hanging out there with that ego, right?
On the team, all I'm trying to express is the fact that we have direct telepathic contact with each of you. Each of you have telepathic contact with each other. And it's also non-local. This is basically just understanding quantum physics on a psychological level. And you don't own any thought. There's no thought that you have that is yours. So please
we
get over
we
them.
can bust everyone here, including ourselves, for violating divine copyright laws.
Right.
If you guys are stuck on a thought, right? If you're taking that as real, you just violated a divine law.
I got one of those on YouTube, I think.
Just talked about that.
Yeah, it was Sananda who owns this copyright.
Right? Yeah.
Right. But the idea of actually going clairvoyant now is happening much faster. Back with Yogananda, it took a whole lifetime, and he said it takes a whole lifetime. Now it almost takes a 3-day weekend, and you're enlightened, and it's right. And the kids are are coming in, born that way. And so it's an exciting time.
Yeah.
But open up to your own clairvoyance.
Yeah. See, because the greatest thing that you can do if you're still in the ego family, that kind of that energy, is to step into a community. Go to the next level, because unless your parents express more expression of your real nature out to embrace a bigger family, your kids are going to grow up with the old energies. So it's not a reach to say these priorities are real. You know, the Christ consciousness, the team, inner, and the community without, and then the family at home, and then the last thing we don't put much attention on, but the ego. But the ego is not necessarily bad. It just needs to be upgraded to its true nature as a soul. So you upgrade by holding this vision that, wow, oh my God, you know, as restless as I might feel, and as worldly as I might feel, and with all my addictions that I might have, that still isn't me. And the yogis have a saying, neti neti. It means not this, not that. I can't tell you how many years in the ashram I was going around, neti, 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 neti. God, it was like, right? But it's like all these flies kept coming on my, get away, get away, get away, get away. You know, and really, or ants, and what is ant is automatic negative thought, right? So, but that will eventually, that's something, right? But the I am, you know, his last page. Now that could be even more powerful of a mantra. I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. I am love. I am peace. I am light. I am joy. I am beloved. I am. That's a heck of a great title for a book.
Actually, the last page is called Treasure. And it's the treasured one, you know, that's the image. And you're the treasured one.
Why don't we close by you reading something from that last page, Rysa?
Okay. The heart is like a flame. When this flame burns into your life through another you see your lessons and your teachers. This helps you with your emotions and getting past those beliefs that do not serve you well and are connected to much sadness. The only way you can give is by seeing them and releasing them, and by seeing the Christ within and letting that light shine. You are that light. You are a bright influence on those around you. Let your light shine. They shall see your righteousness. Your light is for all to share. All those who desire will come and partake. In silence, rest. The Divine Feminine just wants you to be at peace and happiness because she loves you. And Jesus loves you too. But he's
right. Well, here's a little girl saying about the Jesus. She says, roses are red, violets are blue, Jesus is Christ, and so are you.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right.